I feel held back by my girlfriend, but I love her. I want to start this by saying me and my girlfriend have been together since May, so around 4 months. During the first month or two everything was good. We fell in love and were inseparable. She has BPD, so I guess I became her obsession. I'd spend every single weekend with her and we would drink, smoke and just have fun. It was all great until I started to learn more about her. She suffers from depression and oftentimes she self-loathes. She admitted to me many times she hates herself. She used to struggle with abusing drugs, and has attempted suicide before. When I was 16 years old, I also attempted suicide. It took a very long time to get out of that self-hating, self-destructive, self-sabotaging mindset. Before meeting her I finally felt my life was going on track. I was in the gym, working on my business, connecting with new people and overall was loving life. A complete 180 to the person I was a few years ago. Fast forward to a month or two ago. My girlfriend started to be very controlling and obsessive. She would accuse me of cheating for no reason. She would snoop through my phone as I slept. I eventually gave her my location just to ease her mind. All I do is go to work anyways. This is where the problem began. By having my location she started to go super obsessed mode. Constantly checking my location and timing me when I go places. Last weekend I went to eat with the guys and I kept her updated, of course. At the end of the night I told her I was gonna head home. As I was in my car I decided just to scroll through some TikToks before driving off. Not even 5 to 10 minutes of scrolling went by before she texts me, "Is everything okay?" She was looking at my location to see if I started moving or not. If I go to the grocery store a little too long I get a text. If I do any activity that doesn't include her she becomes cold and dry. She told me her entire life revolves around me. Everything she does revolves around me, and if I don't share that same sentiment it becomes a problem in the relationship. She has to call me every single night and stay on the phone with me, otherwise she doesn't sleep. I've fallen asleep a few times only to wake up to 100 missed calls from her. It's like every waking moment I have after work has to be dedicated to her. Even to go for a walk she was watching my location and felt the need to call me as I walked. I've started slipping with my goals. Can't go to the gym anymore, my social life has declined, and I feel the progress I've made before meeting her is being reversed. I don't feel like I'll ever achieve my goals if I remain a prisoner in this relationship. She has no ambition, no personality. If I don't plan the date we go nowhere and all I hear is complaining about how she wants to do things with me. Never has ideas, never has an opinion. It's like I'm dealing with a shell of a human being. Like a baby that relies on me for everything. For comfort, for attention. I feel like her lack of will to live is the problem. I've become her purpose and it's like I have to burn myself to keep her warm. My day consists of clocking into work, working 8 hours, then clocking into my job as her boyfriend. It all falls on me. Her mood, if she eats or not, her day, it all is dependent on me. If I'm busy she's depressed. I want to end this relationship but I'm scared she'll hurt herself or fall back into drugs. We broke up for a week and she immediately broke her 1-year sobriety. I don't want her to die because I left. I feel like I'm less of a boyfriend and more of a father. I can't sacrifice the rest of my life for her. She's dragging me down and I don't know what to do. Next story 2. I don't want to be with my husband anymore and am considering divorce. I and my husband have been together for 4 years, married for 1.5. I have a son from a previous relationship, 4, and we have a child together, 1 and I found out I'm pregnant a few weeks ago. After our son was born I've just felt so unsupported. He only works weekends so he watches the 1 while I work and the oldest goes to daycare, and we recently bought a house together a few months ago. And while he does watch our son, which helps with daycare costs, I just feel resentful that he doesn't do much around the house, and I've expressed this to him. I'm not expecting him to deep clean the house every day, but he could at least do a load of dishes or sweep/mop or vacuum. Especially since he always just gives our son food in the living room on a plate in the floor, and as a toddler does, he gets food everywhere and it sits there until I get home and clean it up. He won't feed him in his high chair because he doesn't want to have to sit in the kitchen. I've told him how overwhelmed I feel and how I just want more help, and he might be good for a week and then he'll say he's too stressed and go back to doing almost nothing. I told him I wanted to separate because where I live, for a no-fault divorce you have to be separated for a year beforehand, and he just cried and asked me what happened and keeps trying to blame my antidepressants on it. He'd rather me not take them and be sad if it means I'd love him again, but I don't think I should stop taking them. I'd hate to ruin the kids' lives by separating, which he said is what will happen, but I hate being with someone who I'm not attracted to, and I'm happier when he's not home than when he is. Do I just need to get over it and stay together for the kids and be unhappy, which he said he'd prefer that to me leaving him, or try and separate a while after this new baby is born and both of us would be more financially able to separate? I'm not trying to cause him to lose this house cause he fell in love with it, and I'm willing to be the one to find another home. Comment. Stick to your guns, express that until you see change that is followed through to fruition. You are leaving because you rather your kids grow up in 2 happy households than 1 miserable household. Sincerely. A child who grew up in 1 miserably abusive house. I absolutely love and adore my partner and would enormously struggle without him. If he needed to be unhappy to love me and go off his medication, I'd greatly prefer he stay on his life-saving medication, leave me and be happy. Putting it in quotations because I think it's absolutely gaslighting nonsense, but it's a major red flag to me that he'd rather you be depressed than be safe. That's pretty fucked up. In the future, if your kids have similar issues, will he treat them the same way too? You deserve better. So do the kids. You were more submissive and compliant without the meds, because you didn't have the energy or strength to face this. Really pisses me off that 1, he defines that as love, and 2, that he's so selfish as to say you should get off them. He really needs to grow up and get his shit together. You can't stay with him if he can't do that much for you. Telling someone to go off their psychiatric meds is so scary to me. Like, this person who you apparently love and want the best for you would rather be clinically depressed but accepting of your below-the-bar behavior than happy with you putting in more effort? As someone who was more submissive and compliant without medication, I also learned I became that way with too much of the medication. When I had my son, I suffered postpartum depression, so my doctor added a second antidepressant and kept increasing the dose. Eventually I just became numb to what was going on around me and didn't care how I was being treated. My son and I now suffer from PTSD from his father. I left when my son was 5 years old and he is now almost 15. So what I'm trying to say is that if you feel you are behaving how you should, even though he thinks otherwise, don't go off of them, and be cautious about dose increases if your doctor suggests them, as it can go back the other way really quick without you noticing. Also, trust your instincts as a mother, you'll know what to do. Good psychiatrists are hard to find, and I myself have to depend on my primary care doc for my antidepressant script. But it really would be ideal if only psychiatrists handle dispensing these cocktails. I'm not sure the average GP is adequately trained for these kinds of decisions. My daughter is going through this now, she's 19, and it has been extremely difficult to 1, find a good physiatrist, and 2, the wait time around here to even see one is like 9 months to a year. So she depends on her GP, and he recently upped her meds again. It feels like a high dose to me when I talk to others or visit the subreddit, and she hasn't been dealing with it very well, just not herself. She is on a cancel list for a new physiatrist while she waits for her appointment, and I hope this one is a good fit. Well, that does it then. Up until this point I thought I could explain what's going on without saying he's a bad person. He's a man-child and manipulative. My abusive partner also told me the same, you don't show me enough affection, etc. Kind of hard to show affection to someone who doesn't show you any. Your partner might not be abusive, but he does refuse to take accountability, same as mine, and then blames our misery on ourselves. And about therapy. In my experience, my partner told me he'd get help. I tried to leave him, and then after 4 sessions he was done. Even though it was an ultimatum I'd set. Even if he had said yes, I feel like he'd have attended a few sessions and then rolled up some BS excuse about how he didn't think it was helpful. Next, story 3. I feel like I'm falling out of love for my GF right before we're supposed to move in together. I tried posting about this before, but I was very high, so it was very rambly and melodramatic, and I left out some key details, so I'm trying again with a clearer head. My girlfriend and I are long distance, and have been for about 2.5 years. We were both really happy for that time and have been meticulously planning closing the gap for about a year. I'll be going to school soon, and my girlfriend and I decided we'd rent an apartment together just off campus. I've been working a lot to make this happen. I've been working multiple jobs while going to school so I can afford the down payment and a new car, and after months of non-stop work we planned on moving in before the end of the year. But, maybe 3 weeks ago or so, I woke up one day and just stopped feeling the same way as I did before. All of the feelings I felt for her are completely stunted, and it kind of worries me. I think it might have to do with the stress of everything going on, combined with the fact we've only seen each other twice in the past year. Regardless, I feel extremely guilty, because she tells me every day how much she loves me and misses me and how she can't wait to live together, and if I call it off literally a few weeks before the move I'm going to absolutely crush her, which I do not think I could live with myself if I ever did that. To make things worse, I suddenly have caught feelings for my ex again as of about a week ago. It was a short relationship, and it was several years ago. It was far from a perfect relationship. She definitely had plenty of red flags. She would completely revoke her trust in me at very inappropriate times and completely on a whim, while also demanding all of my trust, and she seemed to go out of her way to make me worried and upset, just to name a few. But, despite all that, I spontaneously get this feeling like she was the one who got away. My ex and I very rarely talk. The last we spoke was over a month ago when I sent her a happy birthday text. I think what started these feelings was twofold. For one, we ended on a really odd note. Not particularly bad, but not really good, either. Kind of incomplete, if that makes sense? And two, I've had a lot of Snapchat and Google Photos memories popping up from that relationship, and seeing all of those memories from when we were together makes me realize I don't think I ever gave myself a chance to properly process/grieve the end of that relationship, and makes me miss it very badly. Now, I know that makes me a complete tool. There's really no beating around the bush there. I've been looking into therapy to try to work on my stress, and maybe I'll get these emotions on a shorter leash while doing so. But in the meantime, is there anything I can do so things go back to normal, where I love my girlfriend and am happy where I'm at, rather than being suddenly stuck in the past? Comment. You're still wishing an ex happy birthday from over 2.5 years ago. Sounds like you never got over her, and you've been hoping for another chance, at least subconsciously, and if this girl moves in, that's gone. Be sure you definitely know what you want first and do talk to your person about doubts. She's probably hiding them from you as well. Big hug and all my best for you and whatever you decide.